Hello. Thank you for joining me today. So, of course, Ukraine launched what was at least touted as an extremely successful and what seems to have been an extremely successful attack on Russia last week. I know some details, of course, drones, destroying planes, bombers. They came out of trucks. I mean, it's quite remarkable. Um, I, it's being touted as like compared to Pearl Harbor or like Russia's Pearl Harbor moment. It was such a huge surprise attack that's being plot. It was plotted for I think over a year by Ukraine. I want to know the details. I want to know more details. That's what I'm going to learn today. WSJ News. That's the Wall Street Journal, guys. Operation Spider's Web. Let's do it.
This is a Ukrainian drone flying
God.
out of a truck in southeastern Siberia, 2,700 miles from the front line, targeting Putin's warplanes deep in the heart of Russian territory.
Wait, so that was real footage of it? That's pretty awesome.
This is a Ukrainian drone.
Oh my God, and you can see the smoke in the background from, I guess, the other planes that are burning. So where are the drone operators? Are they in Russia? Or are they doing this with okay, let's see. It's quite fascinating. I've heard that they were in Russia, but that I'm unclear.
In the heart of Russian territory. Ukrainian officials said it was part of a clandestine attack.
Look how deep in Russia. Holy shit.
That saw 4 military airports hit, destroying more than 40.
Oh, it was on 4 different... See, I thought it was just one. Oh, wow. That's insane.
Clandestine attack that saw 4 military airports hit, destroying more than 40 warplanes in the
40. And those things ain't cheap.
biggest blow of the war against Moscow's long-range bomber fleet.
What we have here is not only a victory for Ukraine in terms of debilitating Russia's ability to launch missiles against Ukraine, but it's actually
So, I mean, I want to know like 40, that's great, but how many bombers are left? Like, how much of a big impact is this actually having on their ability
strategic victory
to respond?
which helps the West enormously.
The attack, known as Operation Spider's Web, hit 34% of Russia's strategic cruise missile carriers, causing an estimated $7 billion worth of damage.
Damn!
In
Get wrecked.
total, Ukrainian officials said 117 drones were used and that the operation took more than a year and a half of planning.
Ukraine has long used long-range drones launched from Ukraine, which then fly into Russian airspace and strike a variety of targets. But this attack was rather different. Some of the
It's interesting how drones are now, I don't know. I mean, drones have been in warfare for a long time, but it used to be, I mean, I'm talking decades, but back then they were like giant drones, Now they're using like little ass drones you buy at the store for $200. The ones America has been using to drop bombs around the world for years, those probably cost, $100 million or something. Not $200. I mean, wow. The future of warfare is scary.
Fields that were struck were thousands of miles from Ukraine. And the operation didn't involve these long-range drones, which we've become used to seeing launched from Ukraine. Instead, these were small drones which were launched from containers on trucks. We don't yet have...
And that little thing had enough explosive in it to blow up a plane?
The details of exactly how this happened. The SBU has not revealed it. It has shown some photos.
Oh, look. I mean, those are literally like from Walmart. It's just amazing how cheap this attack. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're a little bit more specialized. I'm sure they're technically, developed by arms manufacturers. I don't know.
Photographs of what these containers looked like, which were clearly loaded onto the trucks, and the way that the drones were concealed within these containers. We don't know exactly how they got into Russia, but it seems to be that Ukraine has taken advantage of commercial networks to deliver a weapon deep inside the territory of its.
I mean, I guess you just go through a different border, right? They probably went through frickin', I was going to say Mongolia. I had to make sure they do indeed have a border with Russia. Yeah, they went through frickin' Mongolia, man. Or Kazakhstan. Yeah, I assume something like that, right? And those countries probably didn't even know.
Its enemy in a way that the Russian security.
I'm speculating.
Security services and military have been stunned by and were absolutely not ready for.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said the operation had tangible losses. US officials said that Kyiv didn't provide advance notice of the strikes to the Trump administration.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, that's the state of where we're at, right? Where it's like, do you really trust giving Trump that information? I don't know, because Trump might view it as some kind of leverage he can use, like, hey, Putin, here's some information we'll tell you as, as part of a deal. You get half of Ukraine, and we'll tell you about this attack. I mean, I don't know.
This operation appears to have used only Ukrainian equipment, non-US equipment, and therefore Ukraine has clearly felt that it doesn't need to inform the US.
Russia has
Why should they?
not confirmed how many planes were hit, but has said that aircraft were damaged and set on fire.
So what we're seeing here is an extraordinary assault that not only is it a demonstration of Ukraine's ability to innovate and strike Russia where it's not expecting it, it's also a clear indication that Russia is not invincible. Russia has been seeking to portray its victory in Ukraine as inevitable. This extraordinary operation shows that Ukraine is still in this fight and can cause significant damage to Russia well beyond the battlefield.
I mean, what if Ukraine just does this? Why don't they just do it again? And again and again? I don't know. Would that be smart? It seems like a very high ROI, You send in these trucks, couple $100,000, drones, whatever, $100,000 or less, and you cause $7 billion in damage. That's pretty good.
In this video, the journal was able to confirm the location by analysing satellite imagery.
By analyzing a light pole. Impressive.
The smoke seen is rising in the direction of the Belaya airbase, located around 2,700 miles from the front line.
Wow.
It's clearly a big blow for Russian air capabilities. We don't know how many of Russia's strategic bomber fleet is actually still airworthy, but
Okay, that's what I want to know. Why do I get the feeling we do know that? Like U.S. intelligence or world intelligence, I don't know, surely has that information from satellite imagery, or at least can have a really good idea.
clearly, what we've seen is, Ukraine claiming 41 airplanes that have been taken out. So far, online analysts say they've visually confirmed about 14, and that number is likely to rise as more imagery comes out. Ukraine has asked the Trump administration for more air defense systems. Those have not yet been forthcoming, but Ukraine has, through this attack, has found an even better way to try to stop Russian missiles from striking their cities, killing civilians and children, and that is by taking out the aircraft before they even take off.
Analysts say Russia will now have to rethink how it stores and defends its bombers. Ukrainian officials say some of the planes that were destroyed are no longer produced by Russia.
These aircraft that Russia has lost, either damaged or destroyed, were an important part of Russia's power projection. They are the strategic bomber fleet. These are the ones that would deliver nuclear missiles. The fact that Ukraine has been able to...
Well, I know that there's a lot of different ways to deliver nukes, right? They have like submarines that no one even knows where they are with nukes on them.
To
Unfortunately.
destroy some of these aircraft, and in a quite spectacular way, is a demonstration not only of Russian weakness, of Russian security flaws, as well as Ukrainian ingenuity, but it also cramps Russia's ability to project that power because the size of its strategic bomber fleet is now smaller.
The attack came a day ahead of planned peace talks between Ukraine and Russia.
Russia must feel what its losses mean. That is what will push it toward diplomacy. And when Russia takes losses in this war, it's obvious to everyone that Ukraine is the one holding the line, not just for itself, but for all of Europe.
It's a message for Russians that Ukraine can cause severe damage to Russia, deep, deep inside Russia. And it's a message for the other partners that have been supporting Ukraine, particularly for the US, which under Donald Trump has been wavering somewhat in its support. It's a message to them. Ukraine is still in this fight.
Wow. Pretty remarkable attack there, huh? Pretty frickin' remarkable. It's not about needing to inform the US. It's about needing to not inform the US. This plan would have looked really cool in a group text. Can we take a moment to appreciate that apparently 0 civilians were harmed? Honestly, it almost seems like very little people were harmed, which is good in my opinion, if possible, Obviously, that's not always possible, or even strategically intelligent. But in this case, it was mostly planes. So, that's pretty amazing. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.